Hello, everyone. Rob Wolf from the Loan Factory, and you're watching the Lone Wolf podcast on my YouTube channel, or you're listening to it on my podcast, the same name, the Lone Wolf Podcast. I talk about mortgages, but I throw some real estate into the mix. And you can watch me on Wednesday nights when I advertise these or throw them out there. Wednesdays at 9 o'clock. You can reach me at rob.wolf@loanfactory.com or just give me a call. In fact, here's my phone right now, 727-366-5722. I'm in the ABC business. I always be communicating. Okay, if you get my voicemail, leave a message. I promise I'll get back to you. And I'm not a bank. So I'm available after 5 o'clock and even on the weekends. So anyway, I am a licensed loan officer. I'm licensed in Florida, where I live, in the Sunshine State, just outside of Clearwater, and Pennsylvania, where I grew up, and Colorado, the great Rocky Mountain state where I used to live there, and I vacation every year. This podcast is just me, but if you want to be a guest, let me know, and we can work something out. I'm assuming you're in the real estate field, and then we could do a podcast together, and I'll give you a copy, and you can promote your business. Okay, so I keep these to 30 minutes or less, usually between 20 and 30. And like I said, I put them out there, but go into Google Chrome if you miss an episode or you want to look at past episodes and put in the Lone Wolf Podcast, and you can search some old episodes. So speaking of episodes, I'm going to talk about, this is really geared towards the young or new homeowners. I had a young borrower that really had no clue what needed to go through the process of not only getting pre-approved, but then also shopping for homes, what to look for and what have. And I thought, you know what, this would be a good video to have for those people that are new to the home buying business. So it's going to be broken up into two areas. I'm going to have the money side of it, not a full money side, but it kind of give you a feel for what you can afford. And then there's now I want to go shopping, what you want to look for, what you want to tell your realtor that you're looking for in a home. Because when I get you pre-approved, that's basically telling the realtor and you can afford X amount of money to go shopping for a home. And the realtor is going to ask you, what are you looking for? And that's the fun part, to be honest, for me, that you get to have your top 10 list of things you're looking for in a home. And hopefully your realtor can find that for you. So I'm going to switch screens. And what I'm going to do is give you one of the areas that I look for as a loan officer to kind of gauge people to what they can afford. Okay, because a lot of people don't know how we figure this out. Now, I'm going to preface this by saying this is not a pre-approval or a pre-qualified guideline. Well, actually it is. It's a very loose guideline. There are so many other factors that go into getting you pre-approved for an amount, your credit score being one, your assets or your savings being another. But I just want to talk to you about, if you make X amount of money per month, how Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, that's the government that backs these mortgages, how they look at that. Speaking of the government, that's what I'm basing this information off of, okay? If you're self-employed or you're looking for investment property or you're in the hospitality field, cash, type, this won't work. I would have to get you pre-qualified for a different style of loan, okay? So what I'm talking about are the people that for the last 2 years, they've been working for the same company, a W-2 employee. Okay, that's the best way I can put it. And in case you didn't know that, that's what the lenders look at. They want to see continuous 2 years worth of employment, because from their standpoint, They're giving a loan to you for the next 20 or 30 years. They want to see at least a steady 2-year history. Now, if you change jobs and you were out of work for 1 week, 2 weeks, that's fine. But if you lost your job, let's say in COVID was a big thing back then, and you were out of work for 6 months, you weren't going to get a loan. Okay. There were some exceptions, but you get my point. We want 2 years of steady income. So let me see if I can find my little snapshot I had for this to share the screen with you. Okay. So let's say we have someone that makes $100,000. Okay. So I know right away some people are like, oh dear, I don't make that much money. I'm just using this as an example because there's going to be other costs in here that may not, be part of you. But also 100,000 is easy, math. So what we look for as a lender is, what is your gross salary? What do you make in a month? So we divide by 12, and in this case, we're at 83.33. Okay. What we look at is 45% right there of your gross salary. What is that number? And in this case, it's 37.50. Okay, so now that 45%, that's not a hard number, but that tends to be the majority. If you've got a lot of savings, and I mean 20, 30%, then that number could probably increase. If you don't have a lot of savings, you don't have good credit, then maybe that number is going to get lower. But for our conversation, we're going to use 37.50. This is the total amount of debt that you can carry to get a loan. But this is total debt. So we have to count your credit cards, if you've got a car payment, student loans, medical, whatever that may be. So again, I threw some fictitious numbers up here. Credit card payment is your minimum credit card payment that you have. Okay, it could be as little as $25. Okay, so find that out. Now I put $400 for a car payment. That could be right in line with a lot of you, or it could be very light. I've seen $600, $700, $800 car payments for some of my borrowers. Okay, so, and we got medical bills if you spent time in a hospital, and we got student loan bills. So let me take a minute with the student loans and I think medical for that matter. This is a political bouncing ball. We all know that. Okay, if you're in bereavement with your student loans, I get it. Except when it comes to a mortgage. Okay, because the politicians are saying one thing and they're not promising. Okay, until that student loan is legally written off, you have a letter that you don't have to pay anything. It's not on your credit report. I have to account for that. Okay, and that's 0.5%. So if you have $100,000 in student loans, I'm going to have to put $500 a month as your payment. Okay, so keep that in mind, that even though you might be in bereavement, the loan officer has to put something down, and it's usually 0.5%. Okay, getting back to our example here. So we got $3,050 for a mortgage loan. I just did this about an hour ago. If you're looking at a $400,000 property, and I live in Pinellas County, Florida, Clearwater, St. Pete, that's the average price for a house. You put 10% down, that's $40,000. Your loan, your mortgage is $360,000. Okay, at 6.5% interest, that's $2,365 a month. Now, what does that include? Principal and interest on the loan, plus your mortgage insurance, because you didn't put 20% down, you have to pay mortgage insurance. So you have $700 remaining. So you think you're in good shape. Not to be a downer. However, I did not include real estate taxes, homeowners insurance. If it's a condominium with an HOA fee, I got to include that. And before you know it, that $700 is gone. And oh, by the way, I didn't include food, clothing, utilities. Okay. So maybe in this example, if this person does have those credit cards and card payments, they need to scale it down. But again, I just wanted to give this as a visual to you to show you what you can afford, just, kind of giving a thumbnail. Okay. So, and if someone doesn't make $100,000, then just go through this exercise. If it's $75,000, you go to the 45%, look at your debt. And again, you can look at an interest rate, just do Yahoo Finance mortgage calculator, and you'll be able to, kind of figure it out yourself. So that'll at least tell you, okay, this is the size of the house, that I can afford. Okay. So let me get back here. All right. So now we know how much you can borrow. Now it's time to go shopping. And depending on that amount, it might mean you can go for a condominium, go for a townhouse, maybe a manufactured home, or you can go all the way to a single family house. And I have some videos out there on manufactured homes. They are probably the least expensive of what I just mentioned. There are some additional costs that you need to consider if you're going to go for a manufactured home. But that's a great way to get into home ownership, is to get a manufactured home, not a mobile home, a manufactured home. And there's some beautiful manufactured homes out there in the market. They make them a lot better now. The quality is just 10 times better than it was 30, 40 years ago. Okay. Let's say it's a condo. You're thinking of a condo. I had a condo before I moved here full time. I lived in Illinois. It was great. I could come down here on weekends, and I did that a lot to get away from that Illinois weather. And everything was right there. I didn't have to cut the lawn. I had my clothes right there. I went to the grocery store, got some groceries. Okay, I'm on vacation. I didn't have to bring a bunch of luggage to unpack. It was the cat's meow, we could call it. But there are some drawbacks. And when I moved down here full time, that's when those little things started to add up. So let me go over a couple. Not that these were all with me, but the big one is HOAs. I'm not sure if you're familiar. If you're watching this from Florida, you probably know this, but HOAs have gone through the roof in Florida. And you, as a homeowner or condo owner, have no control over this. Okay, I've heard stories of condo HOAs going from, they're like $300 to $400 a month to $600, $700, $800 a month. And you don't have any control. Okay, so if I approve you today, I will have to factor in today's HOA fee. And it may not be an issue today, but what if they raise the HOA $200 a month? That's going to put a squeeze on you. Okay, so keep that in mind, the HOA. And there's really nothing you can do to control that cost. Okay. Neighbors, they're going to be close. They could be above you, below you, and beside you. But take a look, you'll drive around, you'll kind of see, is this a noisy condominium complex? Or is it a 55 plus complex, a little more quiet? The pool. Does it have a pool? Is it close by? If it's close by, you may have some noise. But you don't want to walk too far to get to the pool. So keep in that mind, the distance, to the pool. Here's what I didn't think of when I had my condo. Groceries and other stuff that you're shopping for. It's not like a house where you pull in the garage and then, okay, and you go through the laundry door, the garage door, and you're in the house. Okay, if you're on the second floor or your condo is back nestled through the landscaping, that may get old making 2, 3, 4 trips, to the car. So just keep that in mind. How far is your car when you park it to your front door? Okay. Laundry facilities. Is there a laundry facility in your condo, or do you have to go down the hall and share it with other people? That could get old. Um, Elevators. If it's a 3-story condo, like I had, now to me it was a non-issue. I exercise all the time, so going up and down the steps was, like I said, it was not a big deal for me, unless I had something heavy to carry. But keep that in mind. Is there storage besides the closets in your complex? Like some places have like a separate area we can store bulky items. Check with that. And is there a carport? The sun will kill your car down here. My grandmother lived back down here many, many years ago. Uh, it was kind of funny. She had to get new tires because they rotted out, not because she drove so much. But yeah, your tires will take a beating. Your paint will take a beating inside your car. It's just tough. So see if you can get a carport, or maybe there's some shade around. But keep that in mind. So those are some of the things to think of, like I said, with a condo complex. And one other thing. Condos are very sensitive about FHA and VA loans. Okay, so if you're applying, if you're getting approved through that, you're going to be very limited to the amount of condos that accept those types of loans. Okay, that's just the way it is. Okay, so let's talk about a house. You want that home ownership. You don't want people above and below you, and you just want that single family house. What I'm going to talk about is in no order. I think the first thing is on the top of people's list, but in case it's not on yours, maybe I give it some thought. The school system. You want to inquire the rating of the public school system. Even if you don't have kids like myself, you have to consider the resale value in case you do sell your home. And honestly, if it's a good school system, it's probably a good community. I firmly believe an educated community is a better community. So check that out. This is kind of a general statement, but the floor plan. Tell your realtor not only how many bedrooms and baths you're considering, but is it an open floor plan? That seems to be the common denominator now, which is the newer homes, but maybe a 3-2 split. The 2 bedrooms on that side, the 1 on that side. That's what I have. It's fantastic. I have family or friends come visit. They're at that side. I'm at the other side. So, talk about a floor plan. The neighborhood. Look around. And where is the house in regard to the neighborhood? Is your house that you're looking at on a busy street and you have children? May not be a good fit, or it's a non-issue. So keep that in mind where your house is in regard to the busy street and where all the other traffic is and what have you. The age of the house. You may like new, and you don't want to even look at anything older than 20 years, whatever that means, and let your realtor know. Other people, they like the charm of the older homes, and that's fine with them. So give them an age bracket. Extra things to look at. Here in Florida, it gets warm. So there's a lot of homes with pools. Is that something you want? Pools can be a detriment to some people, or it could be great to others, and it's up to the individual person. You will pay higher homeowners insurance for it, but I can almost assure you that a pool will cost you anywhere from $50 to $100 a month on average. Summertime, I'm putting a bucket of chlorine in my pool, and chlorine is $8 to $10 a jug now, a week. That's just chlorine, let alone the other chemicals, let alone the fuel pump. Your fuel pump is going to go every 3 to 5 years. Equipment in Florida does not have the lifespan it does in other places because we run the equipment 12 months of the year. The pool's always open here. We don't have to winterize it. Your air conditioner is running 12 months of the year. Okay, so, and speaking of air conditioners, you want to make sure that the air conditioner is less than 5 years old, because the average lifespan of an air conditioner down here is about 12 years. Again, we're running it 12 months of the year. Some people like fireplaces. I've got one in my house. I haven't used it. It's kind of silly, but the people put a fireplace in here. It does get cool 6 weeks of the year in Florida. But anyway, landscaping. Do you want something that's fully landscaped or not? I tell my friends up north, if you have a green thumb, you'll love Florida. If you don't have a green thumb, you're going to hate it. I personally enjoy it. It's therapeutic. It gets me outside, gets me a little exercise when I'm cutting the lawn. But even if I want to take a break from studying, if I'm studying for anything or my work, I go out in the backyard and I trim some trees and bushes and do some gardening. The good thing is it's not as expensive as if you do it yourself. Okay. And speaking of doing it yourself, I'm hoping you're handy. If you're not handy, then you're going to see the price of home ownership go through the roof. And believe you me, I was not brought up handy. But thanks to YouTube and some friends that are skilled, they were able to teach me. And when I bought this house that I'm living in, I put about $35,000, $40,000 into it of my own money. If I would have had to pay for that, it would have been easily 80 grand or more. But just do it yourself, and you'll get that gratification. And it takes time, but hopefully you're handy. And like I said, it'll save you a lot of money out. And speaking of handy, if you are handy, you can overlook a lot of things that the people on HGTV think it's a deal breaker. I got to be honest, HGTV, I think, does not do we regular people any favors. And what I mean by that is you'll see a show and the people, oh, I don't like that color. Oh, I don't like that faucet. Well, change it. Okay, I bought this house and every room had a funky color. At least to me, it was a funky color. So when they moved out, I had a friend, $800. He did the whole house. Boom, done in a weekend. Okay, now if you don't have that money, then you can do it with your partner or your spouse or do it yourself. I mean, paint is instant gratification, even though the price of paint's going through the roof as well as many other things now. But I mean, $30 a gallon for paint, 2 gallons of paint for a room or whatever it may be, you do one room at a time. It's not that bad. Appliances, you can change them out if they're old. Some of them get pricey, but like I said, fixtures, a faucet may only cost $150. Now a plumber's going to charge you $300, $400 for that, but you can change those things as you go along. Toilets are $150. Like I said, I could go on and on. Like I said, hopefully you're handy. And you can take care of some of those things. I mentioned the AC. Check the age of these appliances. Even if it's a perfect property, you're going to have to keep this in mind that if the AC is 6, 8 years old, of course, the seller's going to say, "Oh, it's fine, it's working, no big deal." Well, in 4 or 5 years, that's going to have to get replaced. That's probably a $4,000 to $5,000 price tag. Okay. How about the water heater? Water is very hard, poor, whatever you want to call it down here. And water heaters don't have a long life, shelf life, so to say. I mentioned this earlier, like the yard. Make sure it's got a sprinkler system if you're here in Florida. If not, that's a huge expense you're going to have to think about. And honestly, I don't know how much it cost. This house They had a sprinkler system, but it was not working for 11 years. So, needless to say, I didn't have a lawn. I did a lot of work myself, but it was about $3,000 before I got everything, taken care of. I'm guessing a sprinkler system's between $5,000 and $10,000. Just a guess. I don't know. So anyway, that kind of concludes what I wanted to talk about. Hopefully it gave you some thought-provoking ideas you didn't think of when you're looking for a home. And if you want, just go to open houses and get ideas. And you see stuff in these houses that you write down, and then you can tell your realtor. But again, if I'm hoping that you're financially close to home ownership, before you start looking at open houses. But again, open houses are fun, and you can just tell the realtor there, I'm just looking. They'll want you to assign a sign-in sheet. That's up to you whether you want to do it or not. But it kills a Saturday afternoon, Sunday afternoon, whatever it may be, and gives you ideas. All right, folks. So if you have any questions or concerns, just like I said, hit me up. I'd be more than happy to reply, or just, give me a call, 727-366-5722. All right, folks, have a great night, and I'll see you or hear you on the next podcast.